Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Scatayan Podcast, where we discuss how society, culture, and norms affect people's behavior. I'm your guy, Toves. I hope you're having a beautiful and fantastic day. If you're not, I'm sending positive energy your way. I hope something comes your way this week that makes you smile. In today's session, I'm going to be discussing something that is slowly becoming the norm on social media. Alongside those videos of cats and dogs doing funny and cute things, there is also the trend of people giving positivity, people sending self help resources, tools, and techniques of becoming a better person, of achieving your goals, or even some motivational quotes on how to go about your day becoming a better person. Well, that's what I'm going to be doing today as well, because I've been educating people on personal and professional development for over 7 years now. So I think I can also contribute to this discussion and give you some tips on how to improve yourself, on how to get to where you want to get to. Now, there are several techniques and several strategies of reaching your goal. Obviously, there are so many ways to achieving success. However, the way that I'm going to share with you today is reflection. I'm not talking about you going into the bathroom to look at yourself in the mirror. That helps sometimes, but I'm talking about it from the point of view of looking inwards at yourself. Asking yourself some tough questions. Are you at the place you want to be? Are you fulfilling your dreams? Are you happy? In Africa and maybe other parts of the world as well, there's a saying, in order for you to know where you're going to, you need to understand where you're coming from. And reflection is basically doing just that. Looking back at your life, looking inwards. What have you done up to this point? What did you do right? What did you do wrong? How can you improve yourself? Are you achieving your dreams? Are you going to get there? Do you have the tools it takes to get there? So that is reflection I'm talking about in this session. First of all, this is episode 30. I want to say thank you to everyone that has been supporting and subscribing and listening to our episodes so far, both on Podbean, on other podcast platforms, as well as here on YouTube. I want to say we really appreciate it, because without you, I don't think I'll be going this far. We started in January. This is episode 30. So thank you very much. And keep supporting us. We really appreciate it and looking forward to it on a weekly basis. I don't want to stop because I don't want to disappoint you guys. I believe that we're giving you things that you look forward to. So thank you to everyone that subscribed. And if you're yet to subscribe, please do that as well. Right? Stop waiting. Just subscribe. Right? It's free. And keep liking the content and sharing the ones that you find very useful, because we want to build a community of people with like-minded interests. So thank you very, very much. So let's talk about reflection. Now, in my professional practice, there are different ways we teach reflection, different models that you can use, either reflective writing or reflective thinking. And if you're doing reflective writing, the different frameworks that you can use to help to articulate yourself. But for today, because it's a podcast, I'm going to go with the one that I use on a regular basis. And I use the method of asking myself these three fundamental questions that I believe that everyone should be asking themselves. And the questions are: what has been good about yourself so far? Or what is good about your experience? The second one is: what has not been good so far? Or what did not go so well? Or what has been bad about your experience? And the third one is: what can you do differently? So I'll be elaborating a bit on these three key W questions, these three what questions. Let's start with the first one. What has been good so far? What has been going so well for you in your experience? Now, obviously, it is easy to understand or to realize what has been good in your life so far. However, there are people that think that everything that has happened to them in their life has been bad, but that's not always the case, because even in the worst case scenarios, there's always been a silver lining. So, for example, let's assume that you've been looking for a job for a long period of time, right? You've gone for interviews, but they've not given you the congratulations, you've gotten the job type of emails or message, right? But look on the positive side. You have been going for interviews. There are so many people that applied for jobs that did not get interviews. Even you know from your experience that you can apply for 1,000 jobs and may not even get a sniff to one. So You getting interviews in the meantime while you've been applying is a positive that at least you're doing something right, or you have something that employers are looking for. Another random example that I can think of is if you've been living with your parents for a long period of time and you've been looking to, move out of the house, right? The one thing is at least you have a shelter to stay. You have a place to lay your head. That is a positive, right? So look at the silver lining, because things can always go wrong. So always think about it in that way. If you're looking to be in a relationship, a long-term relationship, and you've been going on dates, again, silver lining, at least you've been going on a date. You've had what it takes to be able to pull someone to be interested in you to go on a date. So always focus on the silver lining, right? Let that be a positive thought that boosts you to take the next step. So that is the first question. What has been good so far? What has been going well? What has been a good experience for you, right? Use that as silver lining, as I said, to boost yourself and to propel yourself going forward. But this is reflection, right? We want to move from where we are to where we want to get to. So you can't just stop in thinking about the silver lining and like, oh yeah, my life is all right. You need to do something else. Since we are reflecting, same when you look at the mirror, you're trying to look at, are you looking all right? Is there something on your face? Is there something on your shirt that you need to wash off and clean off? Same thing, you need to ask yourself, what has not been good so far? What has been negative about your experience? Now, let me use that example again of going for an interview or getting an interview. Right. So if you've been getting an interview and not being called up for the job, you need to now begin to ask yourself a series of questions. Why am I not getting the job? I forgot to mention something earlier, right? And when you're reflecting, you have to only think about yourself, not thinking about other people, because you can't put blame on other people. You are in control of your own self. Yes, other people might have a part to play, but ultimately you decide your own journey. You decide where you want to go to with the help of others. All right, so reflection helps you to look inward. Like I said, I do it on a regular basis, even when I'm going on a walk, when I'm going to work, after work, when I have conversation with my partner. I ask myself these questions to try to be a better person, right? So always focus on yourself, basically, when you're doing a reflection. So maybe I should have said self-reflection, really, but we're here now, okay? So let's go back to the example of you been getting interviews, but you're not crossing the line to get the job. So when you're asking yourself that what has not been going well so far, you need to begin to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Or what am I not doing well? Could it be that you're not a good public speaker? You're not selling yourself properly? Could it be that you've not researched about the company and so you could not answer questions properly? Could it be that you're not even qualified for the role there? You're just applying, hoping that someone is just going to take you, right? So asking yourself those key questions help you to identify what you need to do better in a different situation. So you see how it links up, right? Positive steps to keep yourself calm for your well-being and to give yourself that silver lining and a slither of hope. Then you need to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong so you can be better? The second example I gave, or the second terrible example I gave, was, you want to move away from your parents' house. Then you need to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Is it that you're not saving enough? If you're not saving enough, why aren't you saving enough? What are you doing that is not making you save enough? Can you cut spending somewhere? Can you maybe stop eating out and, cook more? Things like that. So what are you doing that is not helping you save as much as you want to save, right? And also it could be if you're providing support for your parents, which is fine, right? So how can you do that, but at the same time move out? Could it be that you can get someone else to come in? And if you need someone else to come in to come and help with those responsibilities, how can you fund them? What are you going to do to be able to fund that lifestyle, right? So it's about thinking about all of those things in reflection and trying to make a plan. So as you can see, once you ask yourself those questions, automatically you begin to know what you can do differently next time. So that leads us to the third question. Or before we go, I add one more example, isn't it? Where if you've been going on dates for a long period of time and you're not actually getting into a relationship, then you need to ask yourself, what are you doing wrong? Is it that you're not expressing yourself properly? Is it that you get too drunk on the date? Is it that you're not yet at a place where the people you are actually pulling for the date want to settle with, right? So identifying those things helps you to navigate how you can get to where you want to get to. And that leads us to the third what question, which is, what can I do differently? And I'm going to break that down in two phases. What would I do differently in the same situation? And what am I going to do differently in a different situation? Okay, phase one. What can I do differently in a similar situation? So you've identified the good part, what you've done wrong, and so change it. Do something different that you've noticed that you were doing wrong in the first place. So if you needed a training to get a job, go do the training. If you needed to be a good public speaker, improve your public speaking. Find techniques to improve your public speaking. There's so many tools and guidance on the internet that can help you to improve yourself, right? So once you've identified what has gone wrong, do those things to change it so that you can get a better outcome. That's the first phase. And on the other hand is, what can I do differently in a different situation? So maybe you're not happy about where you are right now and you want to change your situation. So the next thing you have to do is, what gives you purpose? That is where I'm actually, the ultimate place I wanted to lead us to, purpose. Because on social media, those positivity talks is all about achieving your purpose, living your dream, steps to take, 5 steps to success, or, all those kind of things. So, purpose. I remember having a conversation in one of these past weekends with a co-host. We're discussing purpose. What is purpose? Like, how do people realize their purpose? But as someone who has been educating people on personal and professional development, I have a different perception on purpose, right? While most people are thinking of purpose as the divine, what you're made for, what was I created for, sometimes you were just created because your parents wanted you. It's as simple as that. Your parents wanted to be happy. They feel that, having a child will be a good thing for the relationships, and so they made you. So your purpose was your parents' happiness. But it does not mean that you're satisfied with that purpose, right? I also know people really that have prayed, to God to show them their purpose, and they received it. And more often than not, they end up being pastors, right? So if you don't want to end up being a pastor, or you're not satisfied with just being your parents' happiness, then sometimes we need to redefine what purpose means to us. And the way I like to look at purpose right now, based on my years of experience and conversation with people and all my readings, purpose means, even in English, the English definition, the purpose means intent. Right? So what are your intentions? What gives you meaning? If you identify what gives you meaning, then it's easier for you to have purpose and work towards achieving that purpose. So, what gives you meaning? What makes you happy? That is a quick question you need to ask yourself. And bear in mind, not everything that makes you happy is going to give you money. All right? So again, even in purpose, you have to be strategic with it in finding meaning, right? Some people, for them to be happy, they like to help people, right? They want to help people in need, help the elderly, help those that are weak. That is fine. And you go ahead and do that. That will give you purpose. That will give you happiness. That will help your well-being. If you happen to make money from doing that, that is a positive, isn't it? So, as long as you're happy that you're achieving and fulfilling your purpose, that is the main thing. Some people, on the other hand, like to cook. You enjoy cooking. You have a passion for it. Whenever you're cooking, you're happy. So maybe you can do something with that, right? But obviously, you can't just cook and sell to people. In different countries around the world, there's restrictions on, cooking. So you need to probably get a license, register somewhere, understand the different allergies that people have, cook in a particular style. Right? So learn it, get the license, and do that so that you can achieve your purpose and be happy. You don't even have to open a 5-star restaurant. You can start cooking from your home, cooking for weddings, cooking to deliver, in your neighborhood and stuff like that. As long as you're happy, what drives people is giving value or adding value to others. That is very, very important, adding value. So when you're thinking about your purpose, also think about how you're adding value. I heard a quote once that if you're not useful, you are useless. So do you want to be useful or useless? Because everyone wants people that are useful. If you want to have a business, you need to add value to your customers. Otherwise, they'll not come to you, isn't it? That's my economics background coming in right now, isn't it? As a business person, you need to add value to your customers to be relevant and to deal with your competitors. That is basic business and basic economics, right? In order to add value to your workplace, you need to improve yourself. Go to do certain trainings, volunteer for certain things in order to be relevant in the workplace. So how can you use your purpose to fulfill certain needs? That is what you should be targeting. So identify what you've been doing well so far, what you're good at. Identify what you've been doing wrong so far, and then make steps to obviously adjust that, and then channel that into changing your current situation if you want to stay in that situation, or channel that into changing your future by identifying what gives you meaning, what gives you happiness, and finding things that adds value to others so that you can achieve your dreams and your goal. Because at the end of the day, as humans, we are social beings. We interact, and sometimes we interact for fun, sometimes we interact for business, because at the end of the day, we have to pay our bills. The world is not a socialist place. The world is not a communist society. So you need to add value in order to be able to achieve your dreams and realize your purpose as well. I hope that this episode has given you some insight and given you some perspective into how you can achieve your purpose. Right, that's all I aim to do. At Scatteryan, even though we look at how society affects people's behavior, sometimes we also affect society. So do your best to change your environment and change the society around you. If you have enjoyed this episode, please press the like button as usual. Subscribe if you're new or you're yet to do so. Share to like-minded people as well. This has been the Scatteryan podcast, and until the next episode, stay curious and use your brain. SCFA.